Hi everyone, welcome back to part 2 of the Jade Bonsai series and the initial reason as to why this series started in the first place. So the reason this Jade series started is I had one Jade that I like in particular that I've been working on to try and create a bonsai out of, and it's this one here. You'll see the nice big trunk down at the bottom there, and my intention today was to lift these jades out of this planting and pot them into some small bonsai pots. Some of these will just be planted up and potted on and passed on to friends, family, anybody on the local social media that wants to come and collect them and pick them up. We've just got far too many of them, and it's a case of now with the new planting, this one here that we want to make a full feature of as a single bonsai, and possibly a few others. This needs to be the focus of my attention, so some of these will just be simply removed from this planting, potted up and passed on. So the focus of this video is going to be remove the jades that are in this planting, check the root system out of this fellow here, and repot him into a new nice little pot. Now I've got a selection of to one side, we'll see which one suits best. Maybe trim some of the foliage down to reduce the upper layers, and set him on his way to becoming a good bonsai. So I'm going to try and lift these out of the pot. They've come out very nicely. We'll just put them down, remove the pot out of the picture, and then we can see what we've got to work with. There's lots of small fibrous roots in here. Just have a quick pull off of the top of the soil, and we'll see what we've actually got to work with. So we'll just see how we can take these apart. Maybe if I remove these smaller ones first. Yep, so that's one. Get rid of the next one. We'll work his way round. There we go. And keep going round until we're left with just the one. Sorry if my hands are in the way. There we go. And most of these that I'm taking off now will probably just be replanted into standard pots and passed on for anybody else to do with as they wish. They're coming apart very nicely. The soil's nice and dry, so they've got a nice root system on them. My only other option would be to plant them in a small planting, cut them right back to next to nothing, and train them up as a small forest. But these are coming apart very well. There's a nice, that's still in its original soil there, so that we can probably just put into a little pot and let somebody have that and do with as they will. Here we are then. This is the reason for me wanting to do this Jade video in the first place. I've had this cutting that came off for about 3 years now, and it's got some some nice little root action going off down the bottom here. So I'd like to really get in there and have a closer look at some of that. We do have this branch that's coming off the side of the main trunk. I don't fully know exactly what I'm going to do with that at the moment, but we do have a lot of branches coming off the main trunk, and it does look really well, but we just probably need to do some pruning back just to, you know, bring it back to an acceptable size for a bonsai. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rake out the roots of all of this to see what's going on down here. It seems to have a really good structure of roots. The plane will be nice and low because I've worked on this one before, and it's just a case of getting this old soil out and seeing what roots we've got to work with to get it into a pot. So I'm just continuing to rake the roots out from the top in the radial direction, being careful not to upset too many of the radial roots, not really worrying too much about the crossing roots because they'll grow back nicely. We do have a lot of close-up old soil in this. We'll just switch to the bottom and rake out the bottom in a radial pattern, and you see that that's all coming out really nicely. You can see there the cut that was made just there when it was taken away from the mother plant, and you can see that the roots have come out in a nice radial fashion. So I'll just get as much of the old soil out as I can here from the top as well, working it out in a nice manner. And I think that needs to go for a wash now, so we'll take this over to the wash station and give it a wash. Again though, before we go, you can see the bottom of the original cut that has calloused over nicely, and we've got these radial roots coming off, and they're coming off quite nicely. That's a really good effort that the tree's putting in for us. So we'll give it a wash and see what we're looking at. So here we are at the little wash station. We'll just dip the roots in, give them a wash, and you can see we've got some real nice roots on this jade. I knew it was a good one to do. I've been looking after it for a few years now, from the moment it came off, and it's the root pattern hasn't let me down. It's very nice indeed. So the roots on this jade are actually really nice. They come off nicely in a really good radial pattern. No doubt we have a few troublesome roots in there, but we'll work on that and trim off any that are going in a wrong place and a wrong order. We don't really have too many roots that are coming out and going down. They all do seem to be relatively radial. We'll pretty much just be trimming and pruning for vigour on this one. We have some roots that have come out high up here, which I think we'll take those away, which is probably going to affect that branch, but we'll see how it responds. And then as we come around to this side, unless we use this as the front, which will show off these roots here on the side, we might be able to get away with it. But yeah, the roots, I couldn't have asked for too much better than what they're doing. There's only a slight difference in the level of that, so if the root plane we looked at to be across here, they would be sort of in the right place anyway. So as we look at the roots, they're actually in pretty good condition, so we'll probably leave them on for now, get them into the new bonsai pot, and just trim back these long roots that have gone mad, and then allow the shorter roots to catch up for vigour wise. So if we just give them a little final rake out as we sit at the bottom here. Sorry about the scraping noise, I know some people don't really like that. So I'm just going to hold the tree, and I'm just going to take out some of these longer roots, taking them back to an acceptable length, allowing the shorter roots a chance to catch up. So that's not too bad with what we've got. So the first pot that I've pulled out, that was in my mind purely because of the colour, is this one here. But as you can see, the pot curls round and creates a lip. So if we look in, there is quite a curve on that inside, and your soil is going to be about that far in, so that could affect us with the roots. And then also there's these little dimples on the inside which could hold water, which with a jade is not a good idea. So it's not the best of pots. It might look good to some people, but with that curve effect, you get anything in there that's been in there for a while, you're going to struggle to get that out, and you'll probably end up having to hack through lots of roots that are around that edge. So we're going to dismiss this one. The next one that we've got is what people would regularly see as a bonsai pot. Again, it's got the little pooling areas down in the bottom, which isn't great, but as it sits for an actual bonsai pot, the tree itself, although it does go in, it would mean that I have to take off quite a lot of roots. So I'm going to have a look, see what other possibilities we've got. So after a good look round, I don't appear to have anything that's suitable in size wise. The best I can do is this pot that I inherited, and obviously you can see this planting is going to be, well, it's going to be lost in here. But I think, you know, we get a load of soil in the bottom, raise it up to an acceptable height, and offset it to one side and just leave it to grow. It will be able to sit in this pot for a good number of years. We'll only have to prune it for a good number of years before we have to revisit this root structure again, although I probably will take it out beforehand, because I think we've been spoilt again with the radial roots that are on this. So yeah, I think we're going to have to put it into this pot, this clay fired pot. We'll get it cleaned up, and then we'll come back to look at doing some repotting. So I've been thinking, as we always do, about where we are with this scenario, and I think as much as this pot isn't an ideal pot, it suits this tree better. Color wise, it's going to set it off. Everything about it just screams use it, and I'm pretty sure that after a year or two, when we come to repot, the way these jades grow, I think we'll still get it out of this pot quite easily. So after everything I've said, I'm going to revert back to the initial pot that I wanted to use, because trying to put it into this brown pot, it would just get lost, and you know, this is for something else someday that's got a bit of substance. So we have our pot all cleaned up, all nice and tidy. I think this with the mark there is going to be the back of this pot. There is a mark there on the front and a series of other types of marks, but I think that blemish, if I look at it, could possibly be, you know, a single mark that just stands out a little bit too much. Just check the other side. Yeah, if you look at that, there's not like a one single mark that stands out. We do have a few little marks that are taking some attention, but certainly not the great big blemish there that stands out all on its own. So we'll put that down. Got a little bit of a drainage screen here, so we'll just lay that down and in position. Pour in a layer of soil. A little bit more in the edges and something for it to sit on. And then, looking at our tree, I've decided that this is going to be the front. There's some nice trunk feature. We can see the roots that are coming off the side in that nice radial pattern, and if we do decide to remove this side branch, there's just enough going on there to liven it up. So I'm just going to go and wash a little bit more of these roots out, and I'll be back. I've given the roots another wash, and what it has highlighted is we have this one root that comes over the top, and it's sort of crossing these radial roots. They seem to be in there. We'll try and move it, see if we can reposition it, and we have, but it still comes out at an angle. So I'll come in and just take that away. That should have got that. There you go. And that's got that one. This one comes out at a bit of a 45-degree angle, but if we work it, it's come off in my hand anyway, so we'll work with that. We've got one here at the bottom that comes out of this root ball, and then can we redirect it? Doesn't seem to. It wants to look as if it is going back round on itself, so we'll remove that. And then the rest of those seem to be coming out nice and radial, so we'll just go round, see what we've got coming off the rest. We have one in there that's coming out at us at a crossing angle, so I will get that one. That's that one gone. And then just going round, we have a mass of roots here that are coming out. There's one here that sort of comes up dog legs round. I don't know whether we can just force that into a better root. I think what we'll do is we'll take it back to here, and just see what we get from that. And then coming further round, as we look in here, this one is coming up off the top and trying to come back out, so we'll take that one off. And then we have another one here coming off the top of a root. We'll take that one off. And then just looking for any more strange roots, strange crossing roots. We have a few pom-pom type roots where we've got multiples out at the end of each ones. This one comes out and then goes up, so I'll take that off. That's that gone. And then I think I'm kind of happy with the rest of those. We have a bit of old soil still in here that we could just try and get out of the root system. Yep. And yeah, they do seem to come out at the same place, but I don't want to take too much off at this stage. They're nice and radial, we can work as we go forward. This one kind of comes out and goes down, but if we can maybe lift it and turn it out of there, yep, there. Oh, nice. That's nicely back in position. Yeah, this one sort of comes out and goes to the side, so I think we removed the one that was crossing over it. I think we're gonna take that off altogether. So that's that one taken away. And I think that's ready for the pot. So this is going to be our root plane potting height just here. So these roots will disappear under the soil. This is going to be the front. So let's try it for position in the pot. And that's not looking too bad. It's a little bit too central, so I think if we look to take it to that one side, we're not looking too bad. So as we saw there as we were in, we're going to have to do a profile prune of the roots, taking them back to allow the tree to fit in the pot. So if I just come round, trimming it as best I can. We'll now look to see how that fits in the pot. Well, that's fitting in quite nicely there. I'll just adjust the camera so you can see. Yeah, you can't see because of these branches that well. So it's very heavy. It's going to try and pull over. So what we'll do is we'll look at the branch structure and make some decisions for what to be removed before we plant the tree. So we've got the tree here, and some of this structure that we can see here, the branch coming off and dividing into two, that's really nice, but it's just, you know, our main trunk is only this big, so you know, to go twice as much along that branch, we can't do that. So what we'll do is we'll come in with the pruners and we'll take it off, leaving two nodes on, taking that growth away, another potential cut in there. And then as we look around the tree, the branch continues up. It divides into two here at a short space, then divides again here. It's sort of out of the length, but we're not going to get too much out of that if we try to shrink it down even further. So for the time being, we'll accept this length. We'll take this one into two, and again, following the branch up, it divides into two again here, and then it does some more subdividing further up, but there is just a little bit too much weight on the top of this tree, so I'm going to go to the first node and then cut off just after, right at the top here, and then the same with the branch around the other side. I will come in here, which is going to be actually leaving two nodes on, trim that back, and then coming round to the back, we've got a branch that comes off here that does some dividing up here, but again it's just a bit too long, so I'll leave two nodes on again, trim that back. The branch below that again, we'll leave two nodes on and trim that back, and then the one that comes off of the side, I'll trim back to the first two leaves for now, and we'll get it planted and see what we think. So that's that gone, and now the weight of the tree is really light, and we shouldn't have any problems planting it. It is still a little bit heavy on the main branch side where it leans over, but let's get it in the pot and see where that leads us. So here we are back at the pot. We'll put the tree in and see how it sits in the pot. That sits quite nicely. Our root level is coming up just to the lip of the pot, so we'll just work it in a little bit further, and we're going to have to try and get some soil in around the tree. And there's not a lot to work into, but we'll just work the soil in a little bit, just to try and anywhere where it can get to, it's getting, and that's what we've got to work with. I think we're going to have to put a stone of some description here, because the weight of the tree is naturally pulling it to one side. So I'll get something now. So I'm going to have to slightly change the position of the tree in the pot. It's going to have to come more central. This stone hopefully will just fit into that edge, and that's going to hold it. So what we'll do is we'll remove the stone from here, and we'll top this up with soil. So we'll come in with the soil from here, get that into the pot, and we'll just get it to the edge of the pot, tamp it all down as best we can, and we'll just position that rock as best we can to stop it trying to jump out of the pot. So there we have it. We just need a little bit more soil around this side. Tamp it down, and I think it's now ready for a water. Now people say don't really water jades that much. I seem to do okay. I water them as I think they need it, and I've not really had have any root rot, I've not killed any, so I'm going to give this some water. So here we go. Splash of water, let it run through nice and clean all the way through the soil we've just put in. It's running out of the bottom. This watering can's far too big for this job. And yeah, that's running relatively cleanly now. Perlite always comes to the top and sticks to you like mad. So here's the tree on the turntable. We could probably take quite a few more leaves off, but those leaves are nice and juicy and full of water, so they will help keep the tree in good shape. If I think that they're starting to do anything that's not good for the tree, we will certainly look to take them off. So that's how it looks at the moment. And back round to the front. We'll put him in the greenhouse and let him recover. We'll not water it for a while now. We'll give it a chance to settle in, but we'll keep it in a nice humid environment. We may spray it a few times over the next couple of weeks just to mist it, to keep it nice and humid. Watering it infrequently at the bottom, but again, I'll water it as I see fit. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again at Let's Do Bonsai.